Many INFJs grow up hearing that they are calm, gentle, quiet, or easy to be around. But at the same time, they also hear something that feels confusing, that they are intimidating. People say it in different ways. Some say the INFJ is hard to approach, others say they feel judged. Some people stay distant because they cannot quite figure the INFJ out. And some people, without fully understanding why, feel nervous or uneasy around them. The strange part is that the INFJ is not trying to intimidate anyone. They do not raise their voice. They do not show aggression. They do not try to dominate a room. But their presence creates an effect that people feel even if they cannot explain it. The INFJ personality is rare, and with rarity comes difference. People often fear or misunderstand what they cannot predict. The INFJ does not show much on the outside, but they understand a lot on the inside. They sense emotions, read subtle cues, and hold deep insights about the people around them. This depth creates a kind of invisible pressure. People feel exposed even if the INFJ says nothing. They feel seen in ways they are not used to. This is where the intimidation begins, not from power or loud behavior, but from the INFJ's quiet ability to understand others at a level that feels unusual. Another reason INFJs intimidate people is that they do not present themselves the way most people do. Many people show their intentions clearly. They talk openly, react visibly, or display predictable social habits. But INFJs keep many of their thoughts hidden. They observe more than they speak. They listen carefully while saying very little. They show warmth, but they also maintain emotional distance until they know someone well. That combination of kindness and mystery creates uncertainty in others. Some admire it. Others fear it. But few ignore it. INFJs also carry a unique emotional presence. Even when they are quiet, they feel intense. They look at people in a way that makes them feel analyzed. Their calmness is strong instead of soft. Their silence contains meaning instead of emptiness. People sense that there is more going on beneath the surface than the INFJ ever says. This creates an atmosphere that can make people nervous, especially those who are unsure of themselves or who hide things about their own personality. As the INFJ grows older, they begin to notice that their presence affects others without them trying. They see people hesitate before opening up. They watch people act differently under their gaze. They sense the tension some people feel around them. And they learn something important. Their intimidation is not about being scary. It is about being different in ways that expose the truth, even when they do not intend to. This video explains why INFJs naturally intimidate people, not through force, but through depth, insight, presence, and hidden strength. These qualities make the INFJ one of the most quietly powerful personalities, one that affects others far more deeply than anyone expects. Reason number 1. Depth of insight that feels like being read. The first reason INFJs intimidate people is their deep insight. INFJs can see through others with surprising accuracy. They notice patterns, emotions, intentions, and contradictions that most people overlook. Even when they are silent, they read people with an intensity that feels almost unnatural to those who are not used to being understood so quickly. INFJs do not try to expose people. It just happens because of how their mind works. They observe facial expressions, body language, tone shifts, and emotional patterns. They sense when someone is uncomfortable, dishonest, insecure, or hiding something. They can often finish someone's sentence or understand what someone means before the person finishes speaking. This creates a feeling in others that the INFJ knows too much. For insecure people, this is intimidating. They feel seen in ways they do not want to be seen. They fear judgment even if the INFJ is not judging them. They worry their weaknesses are obvious. They become tense because someone understands their emotional state better than they do themselves. For manipulative people, this is threatening. They cannot hide motives behind charm or excuses. The INFJ senses the manipulation even if nothing obvious is said. The INFJ might not confront them directly, but the manipulative person feels exposed. They know the INFJ is not an easy target, and that creates discomfort, fear, or even hostility. For emotionally guarded people, the INFJ's insight feels too invasive. They prefer relationships that stay on the surface because depth requires vulnerability. But the INFJ naturally goes deeper, even without trying. This depth makes people feel like they cannot lie, pretend, or hide behind social masks. The INFJ sees what is behind the mask, and this alone makes their presence feel intimidating. Another part of this intimidation comes from the INFJ's ability to read unspoken emotions. They can sense sadness, anger, stress, or insecurity, even when someone tries to hide it. They can tell when someone is pretending to be fine. They can feel the emotional atmosphere of a room immediately. This makes people react more carefully around the INFJ because they know something about the INFJ is not fooled by appearances. The INFJ's insight also shows up during conversations. They ask questions that go deeper than expected. They point out emotional truths others never express. They connect events in ways that feel too accurate. They bring up things someone has not admitted even to themselves. This can feel overwhelming for people who avoid introspection. INFJs do not use their insight to judge, control, or manipulate. In fact, they often stay quiet because they do not want to make others uncomfortable. But their insight still shows in their eyes, their silence, and their calm responses. People feel as though the INFJ is reading the room and reading them, which creates a sense of pressure even if the INFJ is simply observing. This depth of perception is one of the strongest reasons INFJs naturally intimidate people. The INFJ does not look with their eyes alone. They look with intuition, empathy, and a deep understanding of human behavior. And most people are not used to being seen like that. Reason number 2, rare personality and strong presence. INFJs are rare, and rare things always stand out. Only a small percentage of people share this personality type, which means most people are unfamiliar with the INFJ's way of thinking, communicating, and behaving. This unfamiliarity creates a sense of mystery, and mystery often creates intimidation. Most people understand personalities that are loud, outgoing, predictable, or easy to read. But INFJs are different. They are quiet but not shy. They are calm but not passive. They are gentle but not weak. They are private but not distant. Every part of the INFJ is a blend of qualities that feel unusual to others. This blend creates a presence that leaves people unsure how to act around them. Another part of this intimidation comes from the INFJ's calm energy. Even when they say nothing, they still fill a room with their presence. They do not force attention, but people sense them anyway. They carry a kind of inner stillness that makes others aware of them. This quiet strength can feel more powerful than loud confidence because it suggests depth, control, and emotional power. INFJs also move through the world with intention. They do not waste words. They do not speak just to fill silence. They do not show their emotions casually. This intentional behavior makes them seem serious and composed. People sometimes feel nervous because the INFJ seems to know what they are doing, even when they are simply standing in silence. Because INFJs are rare, people also have difficulty predicting them. Most people expect common reactions: anger, frustration, excitement, anxiety, or impulsiveness. But INFJs think before reacting. They choose their words carefully. They remain calm in situations that make others panic. They respond with depth when others react with surface emotion. This unpredictability makes some people feel uncertain or intimidated. Another source of the INFJ's strong presence is their emotional depth. Even when they are quiet, people sense that there are many layers beneath the surface. This creates curiosity in some and fear in others. Many people are comfortable with simple personalities because they are easy to understand. The INFJ, however, is complex, thoughtful, sensitive, and intuitive. People feel the weight of that complexity, even if the INFJ is not actively showing it. The INFJ's rarity also means people cannot easily place them into social categories. They do not fit stereotypes. They do not follow trends. They do not mirror the behaviors around them to blend in. This makes them stand out, even when they try not to. People often project assumptions onto the INFJ because they cannot understand the INFJ's true nature quickly. Because of this, some people admire the INFJ's presence, while others feel insecure around it. Some feel inspired. Some feel nervous. Some feel confused. But very few feel indifferent. The INFJ naturally affects people without trying, and this strong presence often leads others to see them as intimidating. Reason number 3, quiet intensity and the INFJ. Stare. One of the most well-known traits of an INFJ is their quiet intensity. People feel this intensity in their presence, in their silence, and especially in the way they look at others. Many INFJs have a focused, observing, thoughtful gaze, often called the INFJ stare. This stare is not aggressive or threatening. It is simply the INFJ's natural way of absorbing information and understanding the emotional environment. But to many people, it feels intense and intimidating. INFJs are deep observers. When they look at someone, they are not just looking at the surface. They are reading emotions, sensing mood, noticing micro-expressions, and understanding what is not being said. Their eyes stay still and focused, almost like they are reading the entire story of the person in front of them. Most people are not used to being looked at with that level of attention. It makes them feel vulnerable, exposed, or uncertain. People often misinterpret this stare. They assume the INFJ is judging them or evaluating them, even if the INFJ is simply thinking. Others believe the INFJ is analyzing them deeply, which can make them feel nervous or uncomfortable. And in a way, the INFJ is analyzing, but not to judge. It is just how they naturally take in information. They observe quietly because they want to understand, not because they want to criticize. Another reason this quiet intensity intimidates people is because INFJs rarely hide how focused they are. Many people glance around, look away quickly, or shift their attention often during conversations. INFJs do the opposite. They stay present. They listen fully. They give their complete attention to one person. This level of focus feels intense for people who are used to shallow or distracted interactions. The INFJ's silence also adds to this effect. When they do not speak immediately, others feel the weight of the silence. They start questioning themselves. They wonder what the INFJ is thinking. They feel pressure to fill the silence with unnecessary words. Meanwhile, the INFJ is simply processing information in their mind and deciding what to say. Their thoughtful pauses feel meaningful to others, and this meaning can create intimidation. Quiet intensity also shows in the INFJ's calm reactions. When others panic, the INFJ stays composed. When others raise their voice, the INFJ remains steady. When others get emotional, the INFJ stays grounded. This emotional balance gives the INFJ a controlled, powerful energy that people do not expect from someone so quiet. It can feel like the INFJ holds a kind of internal strength that others cannot measure. Another aspect of the INFJ stare is that it reveals nothing. People cannot guess what the INFJ is thinking just by looking at them. Their expression stays neutral, soft, or thoughtful, even when their mind is processing complex emotional information. This unreadable quality makes people uneasy. Humans like predictable reactions, and INFJs rarely show their thoughts openly. Their stillness becomes a mystery, and people often fear what they cannot understand. Even when INFJs smile gently, their eyes still carry depth. This depth, combined with silence, creates a presence that is hard to ignore. People feel watched, even if the INFJ is simply paying attention in a calm and quiet way. This quiet intensity is not something the INFJ tries to create. It is just a natural part of their personality. But it is also one of the biggest reasons people feel intimidated, unsure, and sometimes overwhelmed around them. Reason number 4. Strong moral compass and high standards. INFJs live by a moral compass that is deeply rooted, steady, and unshakable. They do not follow the crowd. They do not compromise their values just to fit in. They do not pretend to feel something they do not feel. This kind of integrity is rare, and rare integrity can intimidate people who are used to bending their values or hiding their true selves. The INFJ's moral compass is guided by empathy, intuition, and a strong sense of what is right and wrong. They do not take shortcuts if the shortcuts violate their principles. They do not support behavior that harms others. They do not accept lies, manipulation, cruelty, or selfishness. People feel this strength when they are around an INFJ. They sense that the INFJ cannot be easily influenced or pressured into losing themselves. For people who have unclear values, being around an INFJ can feel uncomfortable. The INFJ's integrity acts like a mirror. It reflects the truth back at them. It highlights their own inconsistencies, hidden motives, or behaviors they try to avoid confronting. Even if the INFJ says nothing about it, the presence of someone with strong values can make others feel guilty or exposed. For dishonest people, the INFJ's moral clarity is a threat. They cannot manipulate or trick the INFJ easily. The INFJ senses lies and hidden agendas quickly. They also react quietly but firmly when they see dishonesty. They may not call it out aloud, but they withdraw, create distance, or refuse to play along. This refusal to cooperate with dishonesty can make the controlling or dishonest person feel intimidated. The INFJ's high standards also apply to relationships. They expect sincerity, respect, emotional honesty, and loyalty. They do not tolerate shallow connection, half-truths, or selfish behavior inside a friendship or romantic relationship. People who cannot reach these standards often feel judged or not good enough, even if the INFJ never intends to make them feel that way. The simple fact that the INFJ holds themselves and others to a strong ethical standard is enough to make some people uncomfortable. INFJs also have strong personal boundaries that add to their intimidating presence. They may be gentle and caring, but they do not allow people to cross certain lines. When someone violates their boundaries, the INFJ may remain calm, but they become distant. They protect their inner world fiercely. This level of quiet strength can surprise people who expect the INFJ to be soft or easily influenced. Another intimidating aspect of the INFJ's values is their willingness to walk away. They do not stay in situations that betray their moral beliefs. They do not tolerate relationships that disrespect their sense of self. They leave quietly but firmly when something feels wrong. This decisiveness shocks people who see the INFJ as passive or gentle. They realize too late that the INFJ's inner strength is far greater than their outer calmness. People often misunderstand the INFJ's moral compass as judgmental, but it is not about judging others. It is about staying true to themselves. Their integrity is one of their greatest strengths, and it naturally intimidates anyone who lacks that same clarity. Reason number 5. Reserved nature that keeps others at a distance. Another reason. INFJs naturally intimidate people is their reserved nature. INFJs do not open up quickly. They do not reveal personal details easily. They take time to trust others. They prefer emotional safety over casual openness. Because of this, people often feel uncertain around them, unsure of where they stand or how the INFJ truly feels. In social situations, most people communicate by being loud, expressive, or openly friendly. INFJs do the opposite. They stay quiet, observe, and wait before engaging. They listen more than they talk. They give calm responses rather than animated reactions. This quiet approach is unusual in a world where people often try to impress or entertain others. Instead of trying to be noticed, the INFJ blends softly into the background, and yet people still notice them. This paradox creates curiosity and intimidation. People are often intimidated by mystery, and INFJs are naturally mysterious. They do not share their emotions casually. They do not tell stories about themselves unless they feel a deep level of trust. They hide their vulnerabilities from people they do not fully know. This makes others work harder to understand them, and that effort can feel intimidating for people who expect instant connection. Another reason this reserved nature feels intimidating is that people cannot predict the INFJ. They cannot tell if the INFJ likes them or not. They cannot read the INFJ's thoughts easily. The INFJ's calm expressions, steady tone, and careful choice of words give very little away. When someone cannot read another person, they often assume the worst. They may think the INFJ is judging them, uninterested, or emotionally distant, even when none of that is true. The INFJ's emotional self-control also adds to this intimidation. They rarely show anger openly. They rarely react impulsively. They rarely lose their composure. This stability can make others feel off balance, especially those who are more reactive or expressive. People expect emotional signals in conversations, but the INFJ gives them slowly and carefully. This difference in emotional expression makes people uncertain. INFJs also value their privacy deeply. They protect their inner world because it holds their dreams, fears, values, and thoughts. Only a few people ever gain access to that world. Those who cannot enter it may feel like the INFJ is keeping secrets, even when the INFJ is simply being cautious. This caution is often misunderstood as rejection or coldness. For people who rely on social dominance, loudness, or manipulation to connect with others, the INFJ's reserved nature is especially intimidating. They cannot impress the INFJ easily. They cannot overwhelm them with attention. They cannot break through the INFJ's calmness. The INFJ remains stable, observant, and private, no matter what. This control over their emotions and their inner world makes the INFJ appear stronger than people expect. The INFJ's reserved nature is not meant to push others away. It is a way of protecting themselves while they observe and understand the environment. But this natural caution often creates intimidation because people fear what they cannot clearly understand. Reason number 6, capacity for fierce loyalty and hidden strength. Another powerful reason INFJs intimidate people is their hidden strength. On the outside, the INFJ looks gentle, calm, and understanding. They avoid conflict, speak softly, and try to create harmony. But inside, they carry a strong core that reveals itself only when needed. This inner strength is not loud, but it is unmistakable. It shows in their loyalty, in their boundaries, in their convictions, and in their ability to endure emotional challenges that many people cannot handle. INFJs form deep connections with only a few people. When they care about someone, they care with intensity and loyalty that is rare. They protect the people they love. They stand up for them, support them, and remain committed even during difficult times. This level of loyalty is impressive, but it also intimidates people who are not used to such deep dedication. Some feel they cannot match the INFJ's emotional investment. Others feel pressured by the strength of the bond. And some feel guilty because they realize the INFJ gives more than they can return. This loyalty also reveals another layer of the INFJ's strength, their ability to fight quietly for what they believe in. Most INFJs dislike conflict, but they will defend their values and their loved ones when the situation demands it. They do not attack with anger, but with calm firmness. They speak in a way that cuts through lies and confusion. Their words are clear, honest, and strong. People who expect the INFJ to stay silent are often shocked by this sudden strength. Another part of the INFJ's hidden strength is their emotional endurance. They feel emotions deeply, but they also process those emotions with insight and reflection. They have survived experiences that would overwhelm many people. They have learned to carry emotional burdens quietly and to grow from their pain. This resilience creates a presence that others feel, even if they do not understand it. People sense that the INFJ has been through things and come out stronger. This quiet resilience can be intimidating to those who rely on external validation or avoid introspection. INFJs also have a strong sense of self that becomes clearer with age. They may appear flexible and agreeable, but once they reach a point of certainty, they become unmovable. They do not let anyone force them into situations that betray their values. They do not stay in relationships that damage their sense of identity. They do not tolerate long-term disrespect. This willingness to walk away from what does not align with their inner truth makes people realize that the INFJ is far stronger than they look. People also fear the INFJ's ability to disappear. When deeply hurt or betrayed, INFJs can cut ties completely and permanently. They do not do this lightly, but when they do, it shows immense emotional strength. Many people find this intimidating because they expect the INFJ to stay gentle and forgiving forever. They do not understand that loyalty has limits, and once those limits are crossed, the INFJ protects themselves with finality. Another intimidating aspect of the INFJ's strength is their clarity during emotional turmoil. While others respond with anger or panic, the INFJ goes inward. They reflect, analyze, and make decisions based on values rather than impulse. This calm, steady control makes people feel they cannot manipulate or pressure the INFJ. They realize the INFJ is far more grounded and aware than they appear. All of these qualities, loyalty, boundaries, resilience, conviction, and emotional control, combine to form a kind of hidden strength that people feel the moment they get close to an INFJ. It is not loud or showy. It is quiet, deep, and powerful. And because most people are not used to this kind of strength, they naturally feel intimidated by it. INFJs do not walk through life trying to intimidate people. They do not raise their voice to command attention. They do not push their opinions on others. They do not show strength for the sake of being noticed. Yet their presence affects people in ways they cannot fully control. Their depth, their insight, their silence, their values, their privacy, and their hidden strength create an energy that others feel immediately. People often fear what they do not understand, and the INFJ is difficult for many to understand. They think deeply while staying quiet. They observe more than they reveal. They listen with intensity. They hold strong values. They feel emotions intensely, but control their reactions. They love deeply, but protect their inner world carefully. This combination makes the INFJ different from most people, and that difference naturally creates intimidation.